Hello, and welcome to Enlightened Empaths, your community for the spiritually awakened, where we discuss, explore, and connect with fellow empaths, healers, intuitives, and seekers. Hello, empaths, and welcome to our almost New Year's show. I cannot believe we're at the end of another year. This one seemed to have gone by extra fast. Do you agree?
I think it depends on who you talk to.
Yeah. Why did it drag on for you?
Well, it just seems like there's been a real extremism with it's either been fantastic and fun and like you've had an amazing year, really wonderful, wonderful things. And other people have had a lot of challenges or a lot of old loop tapes or the nine completion year has really showed up differently for different people.
Yeah, that's true because a 9 year is about rewards and recognition for all the hard work you've done in the whole 9 year cycle. But it's also the garage sale year. So for some people, you might have had a year that felt rewarding and really positive, but the garage sale year energy is all about digging deep and clearing out all the nonsense that's no longer working for you. And that can feel really heavy.
Yeah, that's a really good description of it. And
Yeah.
it's hit people differently, whether it's in relationships or career or financial stability. It's been across the board different ways that this has impacted folks.
Yeah, I agree. But in just a few days, we're going to move into a brand new year, 2026, which is a 1 year. And so that's all about new beginnings, starting over and beginning a new chapter. It's got a lot of pioneering energy to it, so everyone should be prepared to turn over a new page. Doesn't that sound good?
It does. And I immediately think of the magician card, a new journey starting. You have all the tools you need to move forward, action, empowerment, choice. It's a much lighter energy than the heaviness that a lot of folks are coming out of from this past year.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now, we're going to be moving into this whole feeling of the universe asking you, what do you want to create now? So 2026 is going to be about reclaiming your personal direction and really harnessing your inner courage. And because one is a very unique number, it's about embracing your unique, innovative side. Now, it's important, I think, to recognize, as we said with the number nine, every number has positive attributes and not so positive attributes. So, on the positive side of a 1 year, you've got that unique, bold, confident energy. Ones are super determined, ambitious, hardworking. So, we might be asked to work a little harder this year, which, of course, we all need that, right? But one is a solitary number. This energy likes to do things a little different and often alone. So if you have like an innovative, original idea, this is the time to really bring it out into the world. Now, one energy is also super competitive, but not with other numbers, because remember, one is a solitary year. It's more of a competitive energy with itself. So this means 2026 would be a really good year to set a goal for yourself that involves raising the stakes at each level. So, for example, let's say you're setting a fitness goal. You could say, for the first 3 months of the year, I will work out 3 times a week. Once I hit April, I'll add in a fourth workout, or maybe I'll try a new fitness class. Or if you've decided this is the year I'm going to write that book, well, then break it down into steps. In January, I'll write the outline. By March, I'll have 3 chapters done. Or a finance goal with escalating investment goals. Do you know what I mean? Like that type of um, escalating steps really thrives in a one energy.
But also somehow finding a way to integrate it into becoming routine and leading to habit so that it's not. So this goes back, you shared many times you started going to the gym. At first it was like, "Meh," and now it's such an integral part of your day and your life, and you love it and all those things. And I think there's that little cusp we have to go over when we're starting something new or heading for a new goal with this one energy of how do I make it a habit? How do I make it a part of my just my everyday life?
Fake it till you make it. So I want to focus on the solitary energy of the number one so we can kind of have an idea of what this year is going to look like. Because the universal one energy is going to want to do things alone, projects or goals might be solitary goals, but one energy is also known for thinking outside of the box. They are not afraid to march to a different drummer. So, for example, Henry David Thoreau, he's a one personality. Clearly, I think we can all agree he needed his alone time. I mean, remember, he went to live all by himself on Walden Pond? But he also wrote an incredible essay called Civil Disobedience after he was arrested for refusing to pay taxes that would support the Mexican American War and slavery. And he wrote this essay while he was sitting in jail. And it was so ahead of its time when he wrote it in 1849, it would later inspire both Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. Isn't that cool?
That is very cool.
Some numbers, like the seven, have like a dreamy energy to them. And maybe something like the number five is all about, let's just go have fun and go on an adventure. Not the one energy. It's all about action, movement, determination. If a quote could summarize the number one, I think it would be fortune favors the brave.
Oh, that's a good quote.
Yeah, this is the year to really put your ideas into action. Like you were saying with the magician card from the tarot, knowing that you have all the tools within you. It's also a number that loves to reinvent itself. So take, for example, Steve Jobs. He is a life path one. He created Apple based on his independent, risk-taking personality. In 1997, his ad campaign motto was Think Different. Ones are independent, as we've said, and like to think for themselves, which Jobs demonstrated his whole life. He dropped out of college because he didn't like the rigid structure. When he was fired from the company he founded, he left Apple and created a new company. He bought Pixar and patented more than 300 ideas. So you get that feeling of that energy of not only is it go, 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 but it's also, I'm going to do it my way.
Right, which with it being a 1 year, we all have access to that energy. And it would be intensified if you're also in a 1 year, if you're a 1 year person, this year will be even more so.
Yes, for sure. Double the energy of this. Yeah. So, with all of that innovative, I'm going to do it my way energy, this would be a good year to consider a new career or going back to school or moving, going for a new promotion, or even just a new hairstyle or a new look. If you feel like I kind of want to reinvent myself, I want to do things really different, 2026 is the year to do it. Something that I like to do when we're heading into a new universal year is I like to think about, well, what were our other universal 1 years like, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we might see new leaders with radically different ideas this year. We might see leaders kind of hit the reset button. Our most recent Universal 1 years are 2017, 2008, and 1999. So in 2017, we saw the beginning of Trump's first term as president. We saw increased tensions with North Korea, and we saw the hashtag Me Too movement. In 2008, we saw the election of America's first African American president when Barack Obama was sworn into office. We also witnessed the collapse of the U.S. housing market, which culminated in the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers. Kosovo declared independence from Serbia. Nepal ended its monarchy and became a republic. The Large Hadron Collider was finished, and Spotify was launched, and Tesla launched its first mass-produced electric car. And then in 1999, we saw the creation of the euro for the European Union. The Space Shuttle Discovery became the first ever to dock with the International Space Station. And interestingly, the movie The Matrix came out, the very first one. So, do you kind of see a theme there?
I do. And I was thinking about those years as being, those are big years. 1999, Y2K, for anyone that's old enough to remember that. There was so much around that, and the world is going to change. And and all of the things you mentioned have been shifts in mindset and innovation. And I think we're all ready for that.
I do too. I do too. So that's the universal year energy that we're going to
Mhm.
be going into. And if you want to know what your personal year is, you just take your birthday month plus the day you were born and add it to 2026 and reduce to a single digit number, and you will get what your personal year number is. And I think it's always a good idea to do what I just did with the universal year number, is subtract and find out when your last personal year number was. Do it 2 or 3 times and see if you see a pattern in your life of what was happening during your last 4 year or your last 8 year, depending on what number you're heading into.
Right. And we every year that we do this, I ask the same question. But if you don't base it on your birthday, you base it on the first of the year, correct? So even though if I have a December birthday, I would start my my new year. The 9 year would end on the end of
Yes,
well, a few days, and then the 1 year starts on January 1st.
exactly.
Okay, because I think that's confusing for folks thinking, oh, is it my birthday to birthday? Is it and I think that that's really helpful. That keeps it clean.
Right. Like you're going into your personal year of 3.
Right.
And so that will start January 1st.
Threes are nice. Threes are
Threes are
good energy.
great. Oh yeah, there's really very little that's negative about the number 3. It's called the get on the stage or get on the page number, Denise.
We might pass on both of those, but okay.
I keep
What,
pushing Denise to write more.
yeah, what year will it be for you?
For me, it'll be an 8 year.
Oh, and
And
that's your
so
number.
that's my number, that's my life path. But I wonder because a 1 year is really, there's only two numbers that are incredibly hardworking, and that's the 1 and the 8. And so I'm just thinking like, ugh, going into a personal year of 8 and a universal year of 1, that's gonna be interesting.
But I think if you go back to what you said a minute ago, where what do I want this to look like? How do I want to switch it out? It could really become work or this focus becoming something that feeds your soul as well as your wallet.
That's very true.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Well, then we have the Chinese New Year, and we're heading into a whole new astrological year with their calendar. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, yes, it's the year of the fire horse. And the last time this happened would have been 1966, so that's a while ago. And it's the most famous and intense pairing. The fire horse is traditionally seen as powerful, sometimes even volatile, but the people that are born or have this as their element are extremely energetic, brilliant, sometimes temperamental. But the year of the horse is very, very much about freedom and independence. It's about passion and energy. It's about travel and movement, which correlates beautifully with what you were saying about it being a 1 year.
Yeah, it really does. I'm thinking one of my daughters is a horse, and some of the qualities of the horse are super charismatic, life of the party, great communicators, quick-witted, big, huge energy, driven, hardworking, optimistic, and enthusiastic. And that really does describe her. But the challenges of a horse are impatient, restless, and a need for the spotlight. I don't think she has the need for the spotlight, but I always joke that she's my oldest because she was so impatient in heaven. She probably pushed her other sisters out of the way.
And what's her number?
Her, it's a 5. Oh, she's a triple 5, Denise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot of energy.
it's
And
a
you pair that,
lot of energy.
wow. And then you pair that with the horse. So she would have been born in what year?
2002.
Okay, so a water horse.
Right.
And they're the most adaptable, which makes sense. And it does fit her intelligent, empathic, possessing excellent communication skills.
Yeah.
That really does. Wow.
I know. And the only fire horses recently would be 1966 or anyone born in 2026. That's interesting.
It is. And I just think that it's as with everything that we say, you know, we have free will, we have change, we have these are just markers along the way to keep in mind. But I think that it's a chance to really decide the direction you want your life to go with this year of the fire horse and with this number one energy of, okay, I've been kind of stuck in neutral, or I've been circling around and not feeling like I'm making any progress. And these energies feel like it's like, okay, step up. It's time to start moving again.
You know what I find weird? The Chinese zodiac year always seems to match energetically the universal year.
It makes sense.
I guess
I
it
mean,
does, but it's just wild the way that happens. It's almost like magic. But think about it. If a universal year of one is all about like action and moving forward and, really driving forward with all of your goals, and you think about a horse running with its mane like flying in the wind, a horse is all about freedom and action and movement and personal breakthroughs. So it really does fit.
And I think because we're coming out of the 9 year, which was completion, and for me, maybe it correlates with what you were saying about it being a yard sale year, is that it's kind of a dustpan and broom, clean up that residual stuff, finish it off. And people have walked away from situations or they've come to terms with situations. And now all of this moving forward feels like, okay, how do I want to set some new goals in my life and do what I really want to do, not to the exclusion of being a functioning member of society, but how do I find the clarity to decide what I really want when I may have been a bit blindsided the last several years?
Exactly. And how do you recommend doing that? I think sometimes it's different for everyone, like writing it down might help, meditating might help, talking about it might help. But I think we have to explore different ways of really kind of making ourselves reflect on what is going to be the best course of action for us.
Well, what pops into my head is we don't want to burn the clutch. And for anyone who's ever driven, anyway, that's an old reference. Starting small, because with all of this potential energy that we're talking about, it feels like this could be, woohoo, let's go, I'm ready. And maybe starting small with something that's manageable, like a smaller change rather than trying to overhaul everything at once. So if you want to read more, start by giving yourself 10 minutes every day to read. Or if you like, build on those existing habits you have and build momentum rather than just jumping off the precipice.
Yeah, that's a really good suggestion, especially if your goals feel big and scary.
Right. Which goes back to what you're saying about the structure of if you want to write by January, I do an outline. By March, I have my 3 chapters. That applies to anything.
Right. It
Uh,
really, really does. And you just have to write it down, make it happen, and really think about what do I want to reinvent this year? How do I want my life and myself and my work and my career and my relationships to look this time next year?
And I think for many, many people, a huge part of that is how do I take care of myself and not all we've gone over and over all the self-care stuff. Nobody knows what self-care is for you except you. It might be sitting in the parking lot and eating an ice cream cone where nobody can get to you. It could be taking a trip to Greece. Nobody knows what your thing is that you need. But I think incorporating that time into your day, even 5 minutes, a half hour for things that help you relax and recharge is going to be really, really important with all this energy coming in.
I keep seeing a lot of people who need to hear that message. And I keep coming across people who have been ignoring that message for a really long time, and then it's not good. Have you ever
Right.
noticed that when you ignore that message to rest, the body starts to talk louder and louder and louder? I just bumped into someone who kept getting that message and she kept ignoring it. She had, 2 years left before retirement, one more year left before retirement. And so she just kept ignoring it and forging ahead and forging ahead. And finally, she had this huge health crisis and she had to retire 6 months before her pension would kick in.
Oh,
I
that's
know.
so sad.
I know. I know. And it just really made me think how important it is to give ourselves permission to rest.
And also not to beat yourself up if you set a goal and then you divert or you can't be, because I don't know about you, but I've found the things that become consistent in my life started with a desire to make a change.
Yes, exactly. But that change has to be in alignment with a lot of other things going on in your life.
Very
You
much
know what
so.
I mean? Like in my manifesting e-course, I have this whole section on how you might have goals that you really, really want, and you probably will achieve them, but it's not the right time. I don't think you should put those goals away. I think you should, what I always tell people to do is create a goal book or a vision board, but then decorate a really fun box, make it your wishing box, and put those goals into there so that you're not denying them the energy and the seeds they need. You're just saying, in this season of my life, I can't accomplish that right now.
Which is a form of self-care and giving yourself grace.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if you've always wanted to go back to school and you're listening to us and we're like, oh, it's a 1 year and you should go back to school, but maybe you're taking care of an ailing parent or you have a lot of little kids at home or your job is going in five different directions, might not be the best year to go back to school. Doesn't mean it's never going to happen, right?
Right.
Going back to school is fantastic in a 4 year. That's the student and the teacher year. So you could just push that off just a little bit.
Well, and then we have to, it's not something that you're going to read, but you have to factor in the stubborn aspect for some people. In that, remember, I shared with you that I've been doing either a journey or a theta-based meditation every day this year since last January. And I counted, and I've missed 12 days since January 1st. And
Wow.
yeah, and it has changed my work. It's changed my connection with myself, and it has opened up big doors for me intuitively. So, but it was a matter of, and some days it's been very detailed and longer, and some days it was just, I just need to show up and at least do my 5 minutes because I didn't want to lose that momentum, but it was also only in competition with myself. I wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. There were no outside changes that anyone would have noticed. So I think sometimes when we set these goals, staying consistent, what is it that they say? Try to do something for at least 2 months because then you're going to form it into a habit. But it also has to be something that is bringing you value.
Exactly. Personal value.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, the studies I've read say it's less than that. It's 21 days.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's not that bad.
No, 3 weeks.
Yeah. And if you're like me, because I am super forgetful with everything lately. Do you feel that way? Like when you're just pulled in all these different directions, I have to write everything down in order to remember it. But I have to do that with my goals too. And I've shared this before. I like to do the 9 day novena prayer sometimes as well. Even that I have to write down. I have to create a little check off box. I just print out like a blank calendar and tape it to the wall in my office, and I'll just check it off when I've done whatever it is that I'm setting to do to make it a habit. I think we have to hold ourselves accountable in whatever way is going to work for us.
I agree. I agree. And also something that, so going back to, what did your word of the year fit for this past 9 year?
Did it fit for the 9 year?
Yeah. Yeah. Did the word that you chose align with all of the energies that played out over 2025?
Yes.
Okay. See, mine did as well. My word was explore, and I thought it was going to be travel and this and that. And I did buy a smaller RV, so there will be more travel. So there is that happening. But I also did all that inner exploration. So I think sometimes when we set a word or a goal or a focus, we might have an idea, oh, it definitely will manifest in this way, but spirit has something better in store for us.
Yes, we always have to leave ourselves open to that option. Speaking of, I read this really great little story that Neville Goddard. Do you know Neville Goddard? He
Yes.
wrote in the 19 okay, he wrote a long time ago about manifesting and the law of assumption. And he tells this really neat story about a boy who manifested a dog in spite of his parents and everyone else telling him, nope, not gonna happen. So do you mind if I share it?
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
Okay, it says, one afternoon, a young grandmother, a businesswoman in New York, came to see me. She brought along her 9-year-old grandson who was visiting her from his home in Pennsylvania. In response to her questions, I explained the law of assumption, describing in detail the procedure to be followed in attaining an objective. The boy sat quietly, apparently absorbed in a small toy truck, while I explained to the grandmother the method of assuming the state of consciousness that would be hers were were her desire already fulfilled. I told her the story of the soldier in camp who each night fell asleep, imagining himself to be in his own bed in his own home. When the boy and his grandmother were leaving, he looked up at me with great excitement and said, I know what I want, and now I know how to get it. Surprised, I asked him what it was he wanted. He told me he had his heart set on a puppy. To this, the grandmother vigorously protested, telling the boy that it had been made clear repeatedly that he could not have a dog under any circumstances, that his father and mother would not allow it, that the boy was too young to care for it properly, and furthermore, the father had a deep dislike for dogs. All of these were arguments the boy, passionately desirous about having a dog, refused to hear. Now I know what to do, he said. Every night, just as I'm going off to sleep, I'm going to pretend that I have a dog and we are going for a walk. No, said the grandmother, that is not what Mr. Neville means. This was not meant for you. You cannot have a dog. Well, 6 weeks later, the grandmother told me what was to be an astonishing story. The boy's desire to own a dog was so intense that he had absorbed all that I had told his grandmother of how to attain one's desire, and he believed implicitly that at last he knew how to get a dog. Putting this belief into practice for many nights, the boy imagined a dog was lying in his bed beside him. In imagination, he petted the dog, actually feeling its fur. Things like playing with the dog and taking it for a walk also filled his mind. Within a few weeks, it happened. A newspaper in the city in which the boy lived organized a special program in connection with Kindness to Animals Week. All school children were requested to write an essay on why I would like to own a dog. After entries from all the schools were submitted and judged, the winner of the contest was announced. The very same boy who weeks before in my apartment in New York had told me, now I know how to get a dog, was the winner. In an elaborate ceremony, which was publicized with stories and pictures in the newspaper, the boy was awarded a beautiful collie puppy. In relating this story, the grandmother told me that if the boy had been given the money with which to buy the dog, the parents would have refused to do so and would have used it to buy a savings bond for the boy or something like that. Furthermore, if someone had made the boy a gift of a dog, they would have refused it as well. But the dramatic manner in which the boy got the dog, the way he won the city-wide contest, the stories and pictures in the newspaper, the pride of achievement and joy of the boy himself all combined to bring about a change of heart in the parents. And they found themselves doing what they never conceived possible. They allowed him to keep the dog. All this the grandmother explained to me, and she concluded by saying that there was one particular kind of dog on which the boy had set his heart. It was a collie.
Oh,
Isn't that amazing?
it is. That's so fun. That's a really uplifting story, and it's positive and hopeful, and we need more of that. Good old Neville, huh?
I know. Well, it's also just a good reminder of two things. One, that's a really simple way to start to practice manifesting. Just every night as you're falling asleep, just visualize your goal as though it's already happened and really feel into that vision and sense that vision, smell it, taste it, touch it, invoke all of your senses and emotions as much as possible as you go through this daydream before you fall asleep, because that way you're priming your subconscious to work for you. But the second thing that story reminds us of is that there really are no limits, as you were saying before. Don't limit the universe. It can always bring you something better or exactly what it is you're asking for. He did not ask to win a dog. He did not ask to be gifted a dog. He didn't state how it would happen. He just visualized himself with this little collie, and the universe made it happen magically.
And that's a very specific breed of dog.
Yeah, yeah, it
Boy.
is. Now I want to know if like the mom and dad fell in love with the dog too.
I hope so.
I hope so too. Well, we hope this has given you some fun things to think about as you reflect on the end of your 2025 and start to think about all the goals and wonderful, happy times and adventures you are wishing to manifest in 2026. We thank you so much for being listeners with us, and we wish you the happiest, happiest of New Year's.
And thank you for all of the feedback and the questions and comments. And you're part of our community. And please know how much we appreciate all you do to keep Enlightened Empaths available for everyone. I mean, we're all in this together.
So appreciate every single one of you. Remember, as always, to show up, do great work, and share your light.
Take care.